Matthew, let's get into One Piece, shall we? We've got 2 chapters that we will cover because it's chapters 1057 and chapters 1058. 1059 is supposed to be coming out this upcoming week. So let's get into these 2 chapters before we end up discussing the next chapter on our next episode. So Matthew, where we left off in chapter 1056, it was becoming obvious that Yamato was seemingly going to be joining the Straw Hats on their journey. She was seemingly going to be Oden, and she was going to be, taking logs and stuff on their journey. Well, boy, did we get a twist out of that one, didn't we?
Yep.
In the end, she decided not to join the crew. She wanted to explore Wano and stuff, know more about it, and work with Momonosuke, I guess, in rebuilding Wano. And so that kind of surprised me, because after the fact that Carrot is, supposed to become the ruler of the of the Mokomo dukedom, on Zou, so she wasn't going to become a crewmate. So then it seemed like, that Yamato was going to become a crew member. But then, Oda pulls a fast one on us and decides that, Yamato decides not to go. And so that means that the crew is going to remain at 10 going forward. So Matthew, your thoughts on this? The fact that no one was added. Well, actually, technically, we did add one person, which was Jinbei. Jinbei is officially a member of the crew, but there was not an 11th or 12th member added. So your thoughts on this?
I'm kind of glad that we did because, Luffy said he wanted to keep it at around 10. And it at that point, it's even though if both Carrot and Yamato had joined, they both would have had defined roles. But at that point, I still kind of feel like it would have been a little bloated at that point. So yeah. I'm happy with things staying the way it is.
Yeah, because obviously there's been a lot of people that would be like, there should be more, female, crewmates of the Straw Hats and stuff like that. I think it is a bit diverse now. Now that they got Jinbei, who's representing another race, the Fishman race, of all races, but this was something that Luffy had wanted, back from, during their time after, Marineford. So, he got that wish, obviously, and it didn't, I think usually when someone's going to be on there if Luffy is intent on having that person join. Usually he's going to be like, hey, I want that person to join. And I think we didn't really, in the end, if you look back at how the Wano arc went, that didn't really come up with Carrot or Yamato. And, in Carrot's case, she wanted to join. There wasn't anything about Luffy wanting her to join. Obviously, it seemed like, with her inheriting Pedro's will, after he sacrificed himself to get them to get away from, Tato land. We've had this discussion about inherited will in One Piece. But, sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean that a person who gets inherited will is going to join the crew. So that was Carrot's case. Yamato was kind of inviting herself, and Luffy didn't want her to join. But I think in the end, once everything had happened, he was, I guess, open to her joining. So he probably wouldn't have rejected her at that point, but then she decided not to join.
Well, to be fair, who of the current crew was not invited by Luffy?
That would have been Nico Robbins.
Yeah, so there is precedent for someone joining the crew without actually being invited. So it's just not the standard.
Right. That's very true. So in the end, that's what happens, and then you've got the teacher telling the story about the Akazaya Nine and Momonosuke going out to with Luffy to defeat the Beast Pirates, and now, obviously, Momonosuke was unhappy that they were going to be leaving. That they didn't really give him a proper goodbye and stuff. But one thing that we saw that was, some familiar throwbacks was the fact that they accepted him as a member of the crew. And Matthew, I think we've seen that before, where someone of royalty, belonging to a country or kingdom, having been a member of the crew once, and their way of accepting Momonosuke was giving him their flag.
Yeah, their Jolly Roger.
The Jolly Roger. And that, I think, was a very significant take on that, because, Luffy just guaranteed that, because now he's got his status as a Yonko, that
he just claimed Wano.
Right. He just claimed Wano as territory. And I think it's going to be interesting, because I think at this point, Fishman Island, though we haven't seen it official yet, Luffy made that statement back when, he had that call with Big Mom, that Fishman Island was going to be a protectorate of Luffy.
Well, it would really, if the reassembled Sun Pirates returned to Fishman Island, they could essentially be an associate crew of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet.
Right. So obviously, when they leave, Luffy says that Yamato, Momonosuke, and Kinemon are welcome to join the crew in the future, which is, what they, I think, said to Vivi, that she'd always be a member of the crew. So you got that. And then Eustace Kid decided to call Luffy and Law chicken, because they were going to go the safe route over the waterfalls to exit Wano, but Kid gave him a dare, and so both Law and Luffy decided to match Kid on that, to everyone's horror.
Now, I forgot, did they decide the directions in this chapter, or was it the chapter before?
I think it was the chapter before, but at this point, we don't know where they're going to be going, obviously.
Yeah, because they divvied up the directions, but they didn't.
So that they wouldn't all be going in the same direction. And this marks the official end of the
Wano arc.
Well, no, I was going to say the Ninja Mink Pirate Samurai Alliance. And the end of, Law and Luffy as partners. That's the end of their alliance too.
Yeah.
Quite an alliance going back from Punk Hazard, That was quite something, when he proposed that. So anyway, and then it also says here, Orochi is confirmed to have been killed in the battle. So, but you know this, and so this marks the end of Wano, and you know, quite a journey we had, Matthew. You know, and just hard to imagine how, you know, because this technically started back in Punk Hazard. This whole journey of all journeys, how this went. I think this is probably,
wasn't that like a decade ago?
Yeah, I mean, because the second half of the series was in 2011. They went through Fishman Island, and that was a relatively short arc. And then the next arc they went to was Punk Hazard, which was probably 2012, 2013, if I remember. I mean, I'll look that up, but you know, that was a while ago. Let's see here. Punk Hazard arc. So the Punk Hazard arc, yeah, it started in the manga arc started in 2012. So this whole continuous saga, so to speak, started a decade ago.
That's just insane.
And we've been caught up on it this whole time.
Yep. Remind me, how old is Oda?
Oda's probably in his, I think he's probably in his early 50s now. Late 40s or early 50s now.
Boy.
Yeah.
Like, how much more time do we have? Like, what's it's like we have so much more to go.
Supposedly, this is we're once we start the new arc, which we'll be discussing shortly. Don't even know what to call it yet because it's not really, it doesn't have an official name yet, I think. But this is supposedly this upcoming saga is supposed to be the last saga.
Well, yeah, it's like think about this. So theoretically, you have one more real poneglyph to go.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, but you've got all the other recent developments.
Actually, no. Okay, I have to correct you. It's a road. It's a road poneglyph. The real poneglyph is Robin's ultimate goal, which is the true history.
Right. You've got one more road poneglyph, but think about it. You've got it. There's probably gonna be some kind of showdown against Shanks. Who knows what's going on with Buggy, which we'll get into, you know, when we talk about the next chapter.
Yep.
You still have to face off against Blackbeard, and there's probably going to be a Marines showdown. Like, so unless there's like one giant like free for all, or maybe a few alliances.
Well, and you keep saying this won't happen. I keep saying it will. There's a possibility that there will be an Elbaf arc.
That makes it even more complicated.
And who knows? They might throw some other island. He might throw some other island out somewhere. You never know.
We're either going to have a bunch of very short things happening, or I hope they're short. Because whoever the final battle is, it's going to be long.
Well, yeah, that's going to be the new thing to guess is who's going to be the final bad, you know, who's the final baddie, the big boss? Because like you said, Shanks, Blackbeard, and the Marines would probably being that you got Sakazuki, who's the fleet admiral. Don't forget that you've got you've got the Gorosei.
I have a feeling that if there's a Im Gorosei thing, it's gonna be lumped in with the Marines.
And then here's the other thing. They still have to uncover, well, obviously with the real poneglyph, more than likely, there's probably going to be a flashback in the Void Century. Or a flashback from before the Void Century.
Honestly, the way that I look at it, I said that all the major stuff would be explained, but I have a feeling that afterwards there might be something that's like more of a spin-off that takes place. That's like a prequel or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so yeah, it was a nice ride. It was a long ride. Let's get to the next one though.
Okay, so the new chapter of One Piece, the newer chapter from 2 weeks ago now, 1058, and it's called The New Emperors in English. And basically, so here's what we got. New bounties have been issued for the Straw Hats. Now, where are they at? Now, so let's go through each one, Matthew. Choppers, unfortunately, the joke continues to run. He had, I think it was 50 yen, or no, it was 100 yen.
Berries.
Oh, yeah. 100 berries. Now
You're getting your currencies mixed up.
Yep. Now it's 1,000 berries because he is still considered the pet of the Straw Hat Pirates.
Yeah, they don't realize that he's this doctor who might know more than like the world government actually cares for him to know.
So, Grand Line Review, I think, was the one who did a potential. Excuse me. He did like a potential bounty video, I think, right?
Yeah, like if the world government knew exactly what we all know.
Right. So I'd be kind of curious to see if he does an update of that later, but still have to watch his review of what the chapter looked like. Anyway, so then the second biggest bounty is Nami, and she got an increase to.
You mean second lowest?
Yes, she's got the second lowest bounty, but it's still a pretty sizable bounty because it's 366 million berries. Who
would have thought that Nami would be worth that much?
Yeah, considering that. So remember when it was she was subjugated to serving Arlong, and Arlong's bounty at that time was
3 million.
It was 20 million.
Yeah.
20 million because when Luffy defeated Arlong, he got 30 million as his
initial bounty.
Right, his initial bounty. But that shows how long of a way we've come. Where the fact that Nami has got this bounty of 366 million, which is 15, 16, 18 times the amount that Arlong had, because his bounty's been retracted because he's in Impel Down. Which is kind of interesting that we didn't see him when.
Yeah, that is very interesting. We didn't see him in Impel Down. It's like, what level was he on? Like, what level was he on?
Right.
That's what comes down to. What level was he on?
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's.
We didn't see him at all.
Mm-hmm.
We saw everybody else up to that point that had been captured, but Arlong.
Right. So where is he being kept? And I think I've read rumors here and there about how he might actually have a plot in the story later on. Is that a possibility? Well, I mean, we've seen Stranger Things. Maybe it might happen, maybe it doesn't happen. I don't know. Good question. So anyway, Brook is the third lowest as far as total bounties, but his increase got him to 383 million. So, but he seems happy about it. Nami was wondering if she could turn herself in and get the reward, which was interesting, but you know, that's the Nami joke there. But Brook is pretty chill with it. Wink, wink. Frankie is the fourth lowest bounty, but his increase got him to 394 million. But now he also has a running joke because the last time we had the bounty increase on him and his wanted poster showed the General Frankie, or the Frankie Shogun, instead of him, actually. But now the wanted poster has the Thousand Sunny. So Frankie, you know, obviously that's the running, yeah, that's the running joke for him. Usopp has gone now to 500 million berries, and he's obviously not happy about that.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought? Robin, 930 million berries, and obviously it just shows that the government deems her even bigger of a threat. I'm frankly surprised that she didn't get to 1 billion. I thought that she would get there, but hey, you know, she's knocking on that door. I'm almost thinking that maybe that might be it could be a throwback to, I don't know if did she have a 93 million bounty? I don't remember.
She might have.
Because I think, what did she have? She had like 79 million, and then it increased to 80. But I don't remember. Let me look her up right now. So, wow, actually, she had a pretty big jump. So she was previously 130 million, and she jumped to 930 million. So that's an 800 million jump. That's pretty big. So now let's get into the next. So Robin, 930 million, Matthew. And now we finally get into our first billion bounty on the Straw Hats, and that is Sanji. 1,032 million berries. And he's not happy about that, Matthew. And we're about to find out why that is. You know,
yeah, because he's below Zoro.
Yep. And actually, Jinbei is even above him. Jinbei has increased from 470 million, I think, was the last tally. So now Jinbei is at 1.1 billion berries. So that, I think that pretty much solidifies Jinbei as a member of the Monster Quartet,
as it's now called.
Yep, that's what we're calling it. I know that it's not. I don't think it's an official name.
It was never official.
Right.
It was never a Monster Trio.
Yeah, it was never official, but
That's a purely fan name.
Yeah, it's a fan name, so you know, it is what it is. But at least we're calling it the Monster Quartet. So. And then Zoro getting the bounty increase that he deserves. 1,111 million bounties, and that solidifies him once again as the number 2 of the crew. At least according to the wiki, he's still the combatant, so he's not the. He is not he's not the vice captain. So that title still eludes him.
Or first mate.
Right, first mate. So Luffy's, obviously we already know, 3 billion berries for defeating Kaido and Big Mom. And that 3 billion was kind of shared between him and Kid and Law. With that being said, though, what an interesting take that they have on this is that his 9 crew members are now called the 9 senior officers of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Now, Matthew, give us your take on why they decided to call them that?
I think they probably call them that because, they're his closest crew and stuff like that. But the reality is, as we know, the Grand Fleet is really more of a confederation than it is an actual organized fleet. That they pledged loyalty to Luffy, but Luffy was like, I don't want this many crew members.
Yep, that's very true.
So they're equating these, the actual Straw Hats to the commanders of any other, what's it called? Yonko organization, but in reality, it's, each one is really organized, differently. And Luffy's is that he's got his main crew and he's got the Grand Fleet.
Yeah. So I think,
and we don't know how Shanks is organized. We know that the Whitebeard pirates originally was the it had the division commanders. Big Mom had the Sweet Commanders.
Right. Yep.
And Kaido had the
performers, lead performers.
Yeah, the Tobiroko
the Tobiroko.
Yeah, the Tobiroko.
So,
in addition to King, Queen, and Jack.
Yep. So, Matthew, let's get
we
now
into don't know how Buggy's, we'll probably get into that just now.
We're about to get right into that. So, Cross Guild.
Oh, Blackbeard does have the 10, what's it called?
10 Titanic captains.
Yeah.
So, Cross Guild.
Cross Guild.
Run by Buggy. And Matthew, I was right that so we see that Mihawk and Crocodile are not too happy with Buggy at the moment. Mihawk is literally holding Yoru up to Buggy's face, and Buggy is pleading for his life. The fact of the matter was,
literally saying, "I will kiss your boots."
So it has come to pass that Crocodile proposed
Cross Guild.
And
not just that, he lent Buggy the money to create Buggy's delivery service.
So that's how they're tied together.
That makes perfect sense. Because, I was thinking about this. Crocodile had to have had resources. But the fact of the matter is he could not have brought all those resources to Alabasta. He had to have had those squirreled around somewhere. So, and it makes sense. You're the organization of Baroque Works. So
yeah,
he had to have that stashed away somewhere. So he went to wherever that was stashed away and was like, and when he heard Buggy was trying to, establish himself, he was like, I will lend this to you, but you will owe me later. And then he comes when Buggy's running and he's like, it's time to pay up. And of course, as we know, Buggy said, the overhead is ridiculous. I can't pay you right now. But I have other assets available.
Which tells you that Buggy's not very good at managing stuff, and that's always been known that he likes to spend money anyway.
Yeah.
So
he's a spender.
Right. But anyway, and then it was Crocodile that proposed allying himself with Mihawk.
Yeah, he calls Mihawk, and Mihawk's like, this isn't a good time right now. I've got a bunch of Marines bearing down on me. What do you want?
Yep. So, we're finding out.
Grand Line Review said that it was atypical of Mihawk to be acting the way he does, but I think we've been spoiled with this constant stoic looking Mihawk.
Mm-hmm.
But remember what he was doing when he was when we first met him. He was on a vengeance mission against Don Krieg.
Right. Because they disturbed his nap.
Yeah, it was like, you disturbed my nap, I'm going to kill you, literally. So this, it's, you know, there's this assumption that he's this stoic guy, but the reality is he's prone to emotions at times.
Mm-hmm.
And just coming from the Marines, I would imagine that he's maybe not in the most even-tempered mood at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So this fits perfectly in with his personality, really.
Yeah, so we do know a few things now about Mihawk's background. Apparently, his original, now he's currently known as Hawkeye's Mihawk, but originally he was apparently known as the Marine Hunter. So he was originally Marine Hunter Mihawk, which would be pretty interesting, I think, right?
Well, and then it would also make sense for them to make him a Shibukai because they're like, hey,
Stop hunting us.
yeah. It was clearly a good enough deal that he agreed.
Yeah. And then, you know, Galdino reveals his true nature in that he never was officially a member of Buggy's Pirates.
I'm surprised that Crocodile didn't talk down to him because it's like whenever we've seen him whenever we've seen him and Galdino, he's just talked down to him like some kind of like secondary life form.
Right.
And
Daz
of course,
Bonus.
Daz Bones is.
Yep, Daz Bonus is back.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. When I think of Cross Guild, I think of basically my image is Baroque Works Cross combined with the Buggy Pirates. That's basically what
Well, no, I would have to think that this is, well, because we know who's going to be running this show. It's definitely not Buggy that's going to be running this show.
Well, and they said it, and Mihawk was like, you know what? Let's just let him be the front man.
Right, because they were upset about the fact that he was posted as the leader, meaning that it almost seems to me like Mihawk wouldn't have minded being named the Yonko somehow. But obviously that ended up not being the case.
Well, could you imagine Sir Crocodile being named a Yonko?
I mean, it would not be surprising. And maybe that was the running gag, you know, from the Marines' point of view, because they're saying, hey, Buggy is working with Crocodile and Mihawk. He worked with, he worked with Luffy. He knows Shanks. He worked with Whitebeard at the Marine Fort and stuff. So that's probably how they decided to make him the Yonko. And, you know, Mihawk and Crocodile came to the conclusion that, yes, like you said, maybe it's better that he's the face of the organization so that they're going to go after him instead of Mihawk and Crocodile. So,
well, this also aligns as well because Mihawk is someone who, when something is convenient, he will take that path.
Yep.
So it's like we know Crocodile's mentality. Mm-hmm. So, you know, Mihawk is just one of those guys where it's like, well, this seems convenient and it's the easiest way to go. I will go this route.
Yep. So, lastly, we get the bounties from them. And Crocodile, his bounty is now 1,965,000,000. So that's almost, well, no, that's more than double his original bounty that was presented at the Alabasta arc.
That was the frozen one.
Right, that was the frozen one. So Buggy is the next highest bounty at 3,189,000,000. And Matthew, I think this definitely sets the record for the highest straight increase that we've seen for a character in the series, because if you recall, he was at 15 million. Now, obviously, that was probably went up during that time, but how much it went up, we have no idea. So the fact that his next bounty is revealed as 3,189,000,000, I believe that is now the record.
Oh yeah, that's the record, no doubt about it.
Mihawk, though, is higher than Buggy, and if he hadn't been, I probably would have been upset. So Mihawk is 3,590,000,000 berries, and that is also higher than Luffy. It is higher than Blackbeard also, and this really should not be a surprise that he would be this high. Hey,
he's the most dangerous swordsman.
Maybe he could have even been 4 billion berries, but that's, it is what it is.
He's below one person, and that's Shanks.
Right, now. So, the thing is that, the world's strongest swordsman, so that's now Zoro. It's a clear goal for Zoro. Obviously, that's always been his goal. So, I think Matthew...
I honestly still get the feeling that there might still be a Buggy Shanks alliance. I really do. Because it's the only way that makes sense that is going to lead to that battle in order for Luffy and Zoro to overcome their goals.
Yeah. So you're saying that they could achieve it at the same time?
Yeah, because think about it, Cross Guild and Shank and Redhead Pirates versus basically the Straw Hat Grand Fleet.
Could be interesting. So, with that being said, Matthew, give us your thoughts about Cross Guild and what is the future of Cross Guild?
It's gonna be interesting, because I feel like there's a goal, an end that Crocodile has in mind that we're not seeing yet.
Yeah, very true.
I don't think this is just him going out to hunt Marines. There's something else. There's some end game that he's aiming for here.
Of course. So, in closing,
I personally don't think he's really excelled to a point where he can now face Luffy head on. Luffy defeated him, and Luffy's only been getting better.
Yeah.
And as far as I could tell, I don't think Crocodile's learned hockey.
I think he does have armament.
Yeah, but as we know, Luffy just ascended to a higher level. So whatever is happening, I don't think he intends to face Luffy head on.
Probably not. And the fact of the matter is that Luffy already defeated him once using a certain method, and he would be able to do it again. So, yes, Crocodile would actually have a tough time trying to defeat him again. Or he would have a tough time facing Luffy again, is what I should say.
I'm going to be honest, if there is going to be another battle between a Cross Guild, if there's a battle between Cross Guild and Straw Hat Grand Fleet, I don't think or the Straw Hats in general, I don't think Luffy and Crocodile would be the boss battle. I think Crocodile would probably be facing somebody else.
Yeah.
Don't know if it'd be Robin. I mean, they essentially have unfinished business.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that meeting be interesting?
That would be. So in closing, we do have one final part of the chapter, and we go to the revolutionary base, and it is confirmed that Sabo is alive. and because he calls Dragon, because
and
the
Kuma is
fact,
coherent.
right, Kuma seems to be coherent, but obviously Dragon has a code of honor, because he wants to confirm with Sabo, what was reported, the fact that Sabo is claimed by the Marines to have assassinated Cobra. And I think this kind of goes back to, is Cobra actually dead? Like you mentioned in earlier episodes of the podcast, or was this a false
I think
flag
it was a
operation?
false flag attack regardless. Whether he's dead or not, it was a false flag attack. There's no other reason why.
Dragon is not about killing innocent people, and so to him, he would consider Nefertiri Cobra to be an innocent, no matter what his past with,
his ancestral past.
Right. And the fact is, they've never been hostile towards the revolutionaries either.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, the Alabasta, he was always a good leader. He was always a moral leader. He always did what was right by his people. So, that even shows when he was dealing with the rebels that Koza was leading. He was just like, we need to figure this out. There's something not right here.
Yep.
So, yeah, this is so yeah, it's like, yeah, the people that what's his name, that Dragon goes after are not
not good
dictators,
people.
Tyrants.
Yep.
So, and
tyrants and dictators.
Yeah, Cobra's not a tyrant.
Nope.
So and he clearly said, I didn't want this. So I really do think the next revelation is that this is going to be a false flag attack, regardless of whether Cobra is alive or dead. This was a false flag attack.
Yep. All right,
which
Matthew.
Clearly backfired.
Yep.
Because all of a sudden, Sabo is being made to be this hero based off of something that he probably didn't do.
Yeah.